وللمزيد حول هذا الموضوع ينضم إلي من لندن السيد روبرت بيركنز محلل النفط الأول في شركة S&P Global Platts. سيدي، بداية لماذا شكل خبر صفقة روزنفت مفاجأة للأوساط النفطية برأيك؟
Yeah, I think on a couple of fronts. I mean, Russia had been flagging this sale for a while now, since earlier this year. Two issues that were holding it up. I mean, essentially oil prices, hitting a low in February, really put a spanner in the works in terms of the valuation of Rosneft. The country itself said it was, it wanted to see oil prices, asset values improve essentially before it pushed the privatization through. And secondly, the issue of who was going to buy this stake. Obviously, Russia's still under sanctions. Russia looking for an investor, ideally a foreign investor, but it was also looking to sell the stake bizarrely to itself in some ways in a convoluted share sale through a subsidiary, gas subsidiary of Rosneft. And that had been widely floated as a potential. So it was a surprise in terms of the timing, I think, although it had wanted to do it by the end of the year. And also the fact that it managed to get hold of Glencore, a significant foreign partner.
هل من تداعيات لهذه الصفقة على أسواق الطاقة العالمية؟
Well, I mean, the implications obviously for Russia. It needed the money. I mean, it's no secret that Russia was keen to plug a big hole in its budget deficit this year with the sale. So that's going to help, although oil prices are improving. In terms of Rosneft, I mean, what it does, I suppose, it gives them a platform through Glencore and in part through Qatar's participation onto a broader stage, connections to capital markets. I mean, Glencore is known as an oil trader, commodities. It has a mining business as well, not so much as an upstream player in that sense, but it gives it contact with established large Western companies. Perhaps people have interpreted it as a foot in the door in terms of weakening the impact of sanctions. Rosneft has been stymied by financing or seeking financing with Western banks. And this deal itself has been structured quite in a complex way to avoid potential impacts, it looks like, on Glencore with sanctions. So this may sort of mark the move towards an easing of its access to capital markets for further expansion.
الاتحاد الأوروبي على العموم يراجع الصفقة للتأكد من عدم مخالفتها للعقوبات. ما السيناريوهات المطروحة برأيك؟ تحدثت عن أنه طريقة تنفيذ الصفقة هي طريقة مركبة ومعقدة لتلافي تجاوز العقوبات.
Well, if it ends up in an investigation, I don't know if it's got to that level yet. But I mean, certainly there are obviously sanctions from the US, from the European Union on projects and direct investment in Rosneft. Again, this is structured in a more complicated way. The bank loans, syndicated bank loans, are very arm's length in terms of the way that Glencore is attached to Rosneft. So it may be able to avoid that. The money itself is not going to Rosneft; it's going to the Russian government. So that may be able to sidestep the issue over direct financing. The sanctions, particularly European sanctions, mention no investment in Arctic projects or shale projects. Conventional oil projects are okay, it seems. So there's a number of sort of loopholes that potentially they could get around in this. I mean, I think the significant thing is that Glencore, although it hasn't said it explicitly, its financing and its wording of the agreement is such that it recognises there could be potential hurdles from regulatory bodies in Brussels and the US, which again has said it's interested in the deal and it's looking at whether or not it does contravene any sanctions.
هذه صفقة ينتهي بها عام 2016. كيف ترون خارطة الاندماج والاستحواذ في المجال النفطي في 2017؟
For the overall oil and gas sector, I think generally the expectation is there will be a pickup in activity. We saw first half of 2016, I think, was a 5-year low in terms of M&A activity in the oil and gas sector overall. It really comes down to asset values and oil prices. I mean, we've had expectations, now we've had 2 years of low prices. The expectations were that perhaps companies would take advantage of the low prices to start doing deals, given cheaper asset values. That didn't really work out that way. Companies were really holding their fire for M&A activity. And we've only seen a slight uptick now in the last quarter or so in terms of deals being done. Why is that? Well, perhaps oil prices are considered to have bottomed out, and as I said, in February this year, hitting a low, near 13-year low. OPEC's recent deal to help cut production, stabilize or increase oil prices to a point anyway, is seen giving an upwards turn to the futures price. And that allows companies to sort of more security on their asset values. But there are big issues still hanging over the demand side of the equation, the Brexit result, demand in Asia. There's a number of variables that make it difficult for companies to take a prediction on whether or not their assets being done are worthwhile. So I think the market is expected to pick up, particularly in the midstream sector as well. Companies take advantage of downtime there and low activity levels. I think I'd also point to the fact that there is a big issue over debt in the oil and gas sector. The companies now have gone through 2 years where they've been struggling to finance their dividends and capex, and they've taken up quite a lot of high debt. You know, gearing levels within the oil majors are now pushing generally above 20%, which is the level they like to stay at for most of the oil majors. So the access to financing is going to be key. The appetite for debt is going to be key in terms of how many more deals will get done.
من لندن السيد روبرت بيركنز محلل النفط الأول في شركة S&P Global Platts، شكرا جزيلا لك.